Alright, this is day 2 of the Cedar Hill Race Festival, and we just crossed the finish line with 2 laps to go. This course goes the opposite direction that we did the day before, so the hill in the course is less steep, a little bit less extreme, and then there's a much longer sweeping fast downhill. And generally the wind was not as strong today, so not as much of a factor there. I've been spending most of the race kind of 3/4 of the way back through the main pack. Actually, I was having trouble getting up to and staying at the front because these bends that we're about to go through, there's cracks all over the right side of the road, so people are kind of trying to stay to the left, but then the left makes it a little bit tricky to take a good line through the turns. So not wanting to hit anybody or get in a wreck, which did happen right in front of me at the beginning of the race, just playing it safe and kind of staying around the back, which is fine. But so with 2 laps to go here, I've got a plan for an attack when we get to the uphill. I want to be on the left side of the road, which I am. This was part of the plan. Because I've been noticing that on the hill, the left side of the road tends to be kind of open, empty, with lots of room to move, and the right side is tending to be where all the people who are having trouble getting up the hill are drifting backwards. So I think if I can be on the left and anywhere within sight of the front, which I'm maybe like 15 riders back now, I should be in a good position to make some progress going up that hill. So here I am trying to move up along the edge, not really taking any cover from wind, but moving on up. So we finish the 180 turn and it goes straight up into the hill. And it doesn't start off too steep, but it is there. So as you can see here, I've got tons of room on the left to move up, so I start working my way up the field to see what I can do. It kicks up a little bit more. You see people are kind of having to get out of the saddle just to keep the pace they want. And this tall guy right on the very, very front is the guy who won the day before. And I see him, and I know that he'll probably go with me. So I launch off from the group, and I go as close as I can to him because I want him to come with me. This is a long attack. I mean, there's still 2 to go. We're going to have to complete an entire another lap and a half to get to the finish line. So I'm going to need some help. And it works. I go right in front of him, and he sees my attack and follows me straight on. And we get a really good gap going. So barreling through the flat, going through the turn as fast as we can, and then I actually have to wave on this lead car because he's going too slow, and we're not allowed to pass the lead car. Like, you can get disqualified for that. So I wave at him, and he speeds off there because I need to go fast, fast, fast to get this gap, and I don't want the reason that I'm getting caught to be the fact that the lead car was too slow. So I'm still pedaling real hard even as the downhill is starting because we need a lot of speed going in. And then here I can actually just sit down on the top tube, rest, breathe a little bit, recover some, and go through these bends nice and fast. It was hard to go fast with the group because no one knows how to keep a line, and it's a little tricky to take that turn at speed. But when it's just me and the guy behind me, we've got a lot more room to work with. We've got a good gap going, so I'm feeling really quite good about how we're doing, but there's still a long way to go. So at this point, yeah, I've done the little elbow flick, and I'm asking this guy to come through and work with me, so here he is. Because working together is going to be really essential for this to work out. We've got a long way to go. The group behind us is going to be very motivated to catch us, and they have a lot of time to work on it. And see, I didn't let him take nearly long enough of a pull. I think he already kicked me through, and I took the bait. And this is kind of the theme of this whole attack, is I worked too hard, didn't make the guy I'm with work hard enough, or he tricked me into working harder, however you want to see it. But so we're coming into the finishing straight, and this will be our 1 lap to go. He gets back on the front again. There's his elbow flick, so he's taking real short pulls, which is good. I should probably be doing the same thing with him, but my sense of pride makes me pull harder than I should. That's a thing that I have to work on. That's my big lesson learned from this race, is even in attacks like this where the race is on, still don't be a hero. Take the short pulls. So I'm excited about these turns coming up here because, again, this is where when we were all as a pack it was getting congested and slow, and I think with just the 2 of us in a wide open road we'll be able to gather a second or two maybe just in taking these turns at a much higher speed. Kind of lost his wheel there. I'm trying to keep his wheel and also not run right into the cracks. And the wind is coming off from our left a little bit, so if I can stay to his left, that works out. You can see those cracks in the road. They're pretty gnarly. I don't think they're enough to take you out, but they will if you hit one while you're turning. It could be problematic. Past this guy, this 90-degree turn is one where we can get a lot of speed, where the group was slowing down a fair amount. And the group is getting closer. I think I managed to look behind me either here or right at the start of the hill, and they were within sight, so they made a lot of progress on us, probably as we were crossing the finish line through all that. So I know that the hill here is no time to slouch. We got to really work our way up the hill as hard as we can, because that's something I'm good at. I can climb hills well, as long as I don't lose my guy behind me, where I still can get another bit of work out of him, and we can keep our distance from the rest of the group. That'll be good. Putting out a good, solid effort here, but again, you notice you haven't seen my breakaway partner here. So I'm doing all the work through this turn and all the way up the climb, really going into the red and then kind of running out of gas. And it starts to flatten out, but that's no time to let up, so I look behind us at this point and see that we did make a little bit of extra ground from the climb, so that's good. We're going to take this turn again as fast as we can, 1 mile an hour faster than last time, and then it's time to barrel on for that downhill. This is getting to the final yards. Okay, I get him to come forward again, so I get a little bit of rest. I'll have to speed up to catch his wheel, and so they're behind us, but I think you can only descend so fast, so we've still got some time to work on it. So being behind him is good here. We get some free speed. And then once we coast on the downhill, that's time to just take some deep breaths, recover as much, clear that lactic acid out, because it's going to be a painful little finish here. You can see how hard it is to keep the same line with him. I just drifted to his inside, and I kind of yelled out to him, inside. So he knows I'm not right behind him, but he knows not to try and run into me or anything. So this is his last big pull. He does the elbow, and this is where I lost the race, because he knows this is right before the last turn, and he wants to not be working, leading up to that finish line. So if I had my wits about me, I would have not taken over the lead at this point, because this is a real bad place to be on the front. We've got a lot of time left to go, taking that turn as fast as possible. But now this is the finishing straight, and I am on the front, and I am tired. And the group behind us is just coming up to catch us. So we're also right as we get to one of these turns, you can see the slow rider up here, which really kind of threw a mess, because we were all trying to decide if he saw us, if he was going to stay way off to the right. We need room to pass him, and he's just almost in the middle of the road. So we're all trying to figure out what to do. He's not very happy with us. And so someone shoots a gap on my right, and then the guy I was with shoots again, and I almost hit his wheel and sort of freak out there. So at that point, I kind of had stood up. I just sort of lost my wits about me. So I was not in the bunch sprint and ended up finishing 11th in the pack. So just okay, not a bad race.